current president. We have an election today. If anyone wants to usurp my authority,
Trust me.
I think
I
we
can pass some of these out.
okay. This is today's agenda.
Okay.
Oh no, wait a second. This note. This was. I'm trying to remember. One of these is notes. And one of these is agenda. All right, this is agenda for today.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave the notes from last week right here if you want to do it, but so we don't get confused. They look similar. That's the notes.
Thank you.
Plus, it also incentivizes people to get cookies.
That's why they also want to see the agenda file.
Yes, that's why they look the same. I have to make a note to figure out how to fix
I was just looking for that on my computer. Okay, I'm gonna have
that. See, there you go. I'm gonna have a cookie.
I'm trying to figure out how to do this.
I think it was.
Alright.
Around if you want. Well, I have one. Do we have a? We don't have a presentation.
Wow, that's a good turnout here.
And these
Yeah,
were the
I don't think
notes
so.
from the-
Mhm.
So
I mean, we can probably,
you can just watch Toddy.
Mm-hmm.
we can get rid of the, we can get rid of this.
Yeah, I'll come up your agenda.
Okay. Did anyone else need the notes from the last?
Is it the same?
You said they're
They look
different.
similar.
Oh, I did.
We'll need to think about doing that.
Is there anything that you're gonna want to put up on the projector at any time? No? You're live.
Here's the agenda.
You can get it on our website. If anybody has a question, they'll chat right here so you can see
Perfect.
those
You can
questions.
see the questions.
Yep.
We'll see if anyone joined us. Can we tell how many people have joined us?
Let's see. You should be able to see it down here whenever somebody comes in.
I was the only person on last time.
Yeah, I probably expect the same thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
Works great though, and people watched it afterwards, so that's good.
Did you get to it?
All right, welcome everybody.
calendar.
Yeah, I want us to be on time because I'm very, very excited about this presidential
Oh, yeah,
debate.
that's-
that's happening.
I know how excited you are about this presidential debate. I, for one, watch it to figure out what's going to be parodied in Saturday Night Live. Then.
It's kind of sad that it's, you can't tell sometimes reality from the parody.
All right. So Metro State Track.
Oh, so Mr. Jenkins is not coming.
Oh,
I did send you his email. He had a family emergency.
okay. Excellent.
So David Jenkins is a DCPS employee who's been working with Metro officials because of the safe tracking and how it's affecting schools. And he sent me this email today. DDOT has verified that 30 buses will circulate between Noma and Fort Totten Metro during the Safe Track Surge 10 from October the 29th through November the 22nd. Additionally, a few buses will start empty during school dismissal times at Rhode Island and Brookland, in addition to Noma and Fort Totten. McKinley students will be directed to those empty buses by school staff. Dunbar will continue to direct their students to the Shaw Metro Station. The M31 bus will continue to pass in front of the McKinley Middle School as it has done all year. The P6 will service students leaving Rhode Island and traveling to the Edgewood neighborhood. The WMA, I don't know, WMATA, thank you, has communicated that they're ramping up service to 80 during peak times, so school staff should direct students to that line as well. The D8 and the G8 will continue to be great options for your students along the 90 and 92. And as a footnote, he's been to the Noma station several times during dismissal and can verify that there's only been a few students from Dunbar who continue to use that station. Most days he doesn't see any at all. So this information, I will make sure gets into the notes.
Yeah, forward to me.
There you go. And then there was a flyer that we tried to send home with students. I don't know if you got it. Okay.
I gotta tell you, Dr. Jones, we've been doing this now. I've got a junior here, right? So now for 3 straight years.
I don't bring anything home. Okay.
I don't know why
So-
why the expectation should change.
I'm gonna send this around. It says if you use Fort Totten or you use Brookland or whatever, just for you to look at. And then, I will send the file to Todd, who can send it out to everybody who's on the listserv, so at least you'll get that. And by the way, Friday, I'm sending home a federal impact aid survey that, the school system gets money for if folks are military or they're this or they're that. If you'll fill it out and have your child return it on Monday. And there is a Connect Ed call that'll go out stating that your child received this form today. But
Only if you're military?
I think there's like different categories.
Okay.
And so, it's more, you just kind of check off if anything applies to you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna send this around, but I did forward the email, so you will have
I will
this. So you can
forward
do-
that to the folks I have emails for. I think I've got a question. Has everyone been getting emails from me who's here? Yes? Okay, that's good.
Todd Richardson.
Oh,
Todd Richardson or MTech PTO.
I think we need to get like the pothole Popalooza
One of those,
or thing.
yeah.
Sorry. Like,
Email address, Ken Todd,
What's that?
the email address
For
for
the,
the PTO.
it's MTEC PTO. It's actually on the agenda at the top, mtecpto@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, are there any questions for Dr. Jones or any other sort of topics you'd like to report on, Dr. Jones, we had an exciting week last week.
Let's see. Well, we had the PSAT and SAT today. We're doing a vocabulary competition through advisory, and we need prizes. So I was kind of hoping the PTA would help me out, because I can't use school funds to buy gift cards or Kindles or things for kids. So whatever. I don't think I qualify for a mini grant because I don't have a classroom. but
We give mini grants to administrators,
well,
but anyway, would you like a mini grant for prizes?
I would like prizes. However
However, they are.
yeah,
So can you give us some
About-
sense?
maybe $300, because we want to have teams of 3 and 4, and so like the winning team, I'd love to be able to give each kid a Kindle and give other kids, some Amazon gift cards or something like that. But this is it would be an ongoing couple of month sort of competition that will culminate in for a school-wide winner. But we'd like to recognize the winners from each grade level. It's just a fun way for them to learn vocabulary.
All right, so I'll put on our agenda when we get into the PTA business. That is an option for one of the things we can spend the relatively few dollars we have. We'll start on talking about raising money.
And I can just do a real quick report out
Yep.
for. So we have started well. I think the school year has started off in a successful way. We are requiring a great deal more of the teachers. They're probably a little overloaded right now, but we're looking at lesson plans and being more thoughtful in what we're asking teachers to do. Some teachers are, they're providing really great lesson plans. Others, we feel like maybe they rushed through it. So we're providing a little, and sometimes they don't have as much training as teachers who've gone through full-blown teacher prep programs. And so we're going to provide some assistance as far as what we're looking for in lesson plans, in hopes that as they spend more time planning, the activities in the classroom will be more impactful. Because we have some fairly ambitious goals of trying to raise student achievement across the board through PARC, the students who are going to be proficient, but also lowering the number of kids who are at the bottom, level 1s or level 2s. We're also we have one of our goals is going to be to improve our AP scores. And of course, improving Park is grades 6 through 12, not just the high school. So that's one of the things that we're looking at for the teachers. We're also looking at having our LSAT members making a focus of improving parent engagement and improving student satisfaction with school. And how do you improve student satisfaction with school is we're trying to find out what students would like to see at McKinley and provide some fun activities that are not always academically focused so that they can get that fun part of school. We had a very nice week last week, homecoming. Kids got to dress down, they got to dress in themes. We had a homecoming dance that was probably the best attended in several years. There were several hundred students who came. Our homecoming game, we had perfect weather. We won, which is also very nice. So that was very positive.
Great kicking game.
We had a dance earlier in the year during the school day. We're planning to have some, maybe on some half days when the kids are here, we're going to do some things like a student staff volleyball game, maybe try to show a movie and do some things that allow them to sort of kick back a little bit and as a reward for appropriate behavior leading up to the event. We have a wonderful poetry group, and they always compete well. And we have our events after school where it's very well attended, but I'd like to see more kids get that experience and see that group because that's a very impressive group. They do the poetry competition, spoken word. So we just have quite a few things going on, and anybody wants to make suggestions or come and help, that would be awesome. Yes.
So the poetry reading does.
Well, the kids come up with their own verse and they perform, and it's actually a competition.
Mhm.
And they are very good. Some of them are very good and compete well in outside groups. There's an organization called Split the Rock that comes in and works with our kids. So we have a partnership with them.
Is it set days? Once a
The
week, once a
club is set days. The competitions, I don't know about them in advance until a few days before when I see them.
Okay.
But we can make sure we can get that word out.
Okay.
We've even had the middle school come over to watch the high school, and the sponsor, Miss Brody, is very open to even having middle school kids compete in it and be part of the group.
Any other questions for Dr. Jones on what I think has been a pretty good start to the school year?
Oh, Dr. Jones, this is pertaining to Spanish 3. I heard that class may be split up or they may be getting a new teacher. Can you elaborate a little on that? Do you know anything about that? Okay.
No,
Secondly,
where that
from
going?
my son.
Oh. Well, not that I know of.
Okay, well, you don't know that. Maybe not true. Okay.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Jones. So I thought it would be helpful. We typically try to do a little icebreaker here. So the quick icebreaker will be everybody introduce themselves and say what grade your student is. I'm Todd Richardson. I have 2 students here, a freshman and a junior. Want to start at this end?
I am Ryan Linehan. I have no students here.
Well, actually, I'd argue that you have a lot of students here
I
because
have
you're a
50
coach.
football players. I guess I started with 50 football players. Yeah, I'm one of the football coaches here to represent athletics. So.
I'm Stephanie Scott. I have a junior here.
Louise Jones, I have many.
Sharita Smith, I have a sophomore.
Theodora Brown, also a co-chair of the fundraising committee, and I have my son is a junior.
Here, Ronnie King, I'm the dean of students, and like Dr. Jones, I have many too.
Excellent, I like that attitude.
I'm Gia Bias. I have a freshman here and a senior. I'm Veronica Gerald. I actually have neither a freshman. I have a 8th grader at the
Oh.
middle school.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I'm the aunt of the 8th grader at the middle school.
Fantastic. We love having some middle school families here.
My name is Jama and I have 9th grader.
My name is LaShawn English. I'm a new parent and my son is in the 11th grade.
And he's working the table.
And he's working the table.
Thank you.
I'm Vicki Smith and we have a freshman who came from the middle school.
Great.
I'm Marissa Friedman, and
Hi, Marissa.
Hi, I'm LaShawn Holloway. I'm the second vice president for the PTO, and I have a senior in middle school.
I like that attitude. That's good. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is LaShawn Willis. I have a 9th grader. What else?
Just that's it. You got it covered. Good job. Uh-oh, we might be out of agendas because I may have underprinted. Yeah, oh, no, we have still an agenda. You're looking for an agenda for tonight's meeting? Here's tonight's meeting. Anybody else need an agenda? Okay. And I'm sorry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, Jerry Avery, Leilani. My daughter's a 9th grader here.
Hi, Jerry.
I think I'm gonna be the treasurer.
I think so. Well, that's what's up next. All right, very exciting. Thank you everybody for attending this evening. I'm going to turn this around a little bit so the folks who are watching, which is just us at the moment, this gets videotaped and posted on YouTube. It's very exciting. A month ago, at the last meeting, I was actually in Oklahoma City and I watched it. And it was great. Perfect and live action. The first order of business is at our last meeting, we needed to have voted apparently on who our LSAT members would be. We need 4. We had 4 people get nominated. So I have those folks on the agenda.
Are there anyone here from the middle school who would like to be on the middle school LSAT? Okay,
We'll add,
vote
so,
you in. Okay, well, we'll get your name and make it official.
all right.
'Cause I'm sure nobody's gonna vote against you.
So it's Veronica.
Veronica, yes.
So Veronica, what's your last name?
Gerald.
Gerald. Okay. So we have 4 nominees for the high school LSAT and 2 for the middle school LSAT. And so the 4 listed on the agenda are the 4 for the high school. Is there anyone else who would like to be on the LSAT that's not on here? Because we could then, or should we just agree on these 4? Any objections?
4 for each school.
It's 4 for each school. Yeah.
But we only have 2.
We only have 2 for the middle school at the moment. Yeah. So all those in favor of those that are nominated for the LSAT, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Sounds like we have unanimous decision here for the LSAT, so congratulations, folks. I've never attended an LSAT meeting, but I hear they're a lot of fun.
They can get contentious.
It's
Not us, though. I'm gonna send this around, and so if you are the new LSAT, if you could put your email address and phone number, I will contact you to make sure that you get invited to the next meeting.
So we have Phyllis, Jessica, Jerry, and Najai. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's student.
And then, that's a student, all right. And then we have LaShawn. We have room for one more parent then?
We do.
Oh, is there another parent who would like to be on the high school LSAT that's not on here?
How often do you meet? Once a month. And we're usually take December off.
Okay, I guess I can do it.
Did you hear that, Todd? You have
Oh,
volunteer.
sorry. Yes,
Yes,
you'll do it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and now I'm blanking. on you.
LaShawn.
LaShawn, thank you. Sorry, you're Miles' mom. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm Miles' mom.
Sorry. Okay, so LaShawn English, Jerry Averett, Jessica Wodach, Phyllis Junham as our parents. So all in favor of LaShawn joining the LSAT, since we already voted on the others? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we have a full LSAT. Congratulations, team. Okay, next up, for the PTO, we have 5 people who have nominated themselves to be the various positions. So there's myself. I was president last year. I've nominated myself to be president again this year. Jewel Smith, same thing. LaShawn, the same. Treasurer, Jerry has nominated herself. Thank you. And then Stephanie has nominated herself for secretary. Is there anyone else who would like to be an officer of the PTO and would like to run for any of these positions?
Because I'd be happy to give you secretary.
The presidency, this is actually a little bit more responsibility than the other race that's going on right now, but it's a little more professional anyway. So anyone else want to nominate themselves for any of these positions? Okay, so if it's okay, I'd suggest that we vote for the whole panel of folks in once so we can move along here. Anyone all in favor of myself, Jewel, LaShawn, Jerry, and Stephanie for the positions that we have open for the PTO? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you all for that. So we have I was noting in my note, as folks might have noted, we are a fully operational nonprofit 501c3 organization. Tax exempt nonprofit organization. All donations you can, if you itemize your taxes, you can take those as a deduction. But I'm not giving tax advice. Okay, so moving on.
This is a good opportunity to talk about the organization and setting up the exempt organization. Because there's a part 2 to that process as well.
Okay, so we're gonna now, that's what we're going to right now.
Okay.
So on the agenda, on the second page of your agenda, I wanted to note a few things before we get into that conversation, Theo, what our goals are versus how we're doing against those goals at the moment. So our goal was to get 100 paying members this year. We now have 14, maybe
15.
Because this is my first PTO meeting and I'm new to the school, could the members of the PTO executive office, could they please announce themselves? Because I'm not aware who's who. I know you're Todd, correct?
I am
You're
Todd.
President.
Yeah.
So if I could,
I'm LaShawn Hallway, I'm the second vice president for the middle.
okay.
I'm Stephanie Scott. I'm the secretary.
I'm Jerry.
And Jewel Smith, who's the vice president, isn't here this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for asking. So we're hoping to get at least, in addition to the dues paying, we're hoping to get donations from at least 20 families. We've got 4 to date. And so our goal for fundraising donations is $5,000. So the amount we've gotten from the donations we've received so far from the 4 families is $946. So we're making some progress, but hopefully, and I think probably my biggest and most important goal is to try to see if we can get more folks that are paying members. That's our sort of primary source of funds. So Miles, who is sitting at the table out there, is taking money from people who want to be members. So hopefully it gives you a receipt so we can track that who's become a member here. So if you, so we do have a Square, but I didn't have a phone that the Square worked in.
Oh, it works on my phone, so I can do that.
So we can do that after the meeting here. But I think I have, yes, I have the Square.
Ooh, I have the envelope.
And, oh, yeah. So Stephanie, I'm gonna give this to you.
Okay.
When you're ready, you can rig that up. All right, so we can take credit cards. All right, and our website, our fully functional website, if you've not been to it, which is mckinleytechboosters.org, you can also go on there and make donations there. We take credit cards there too. We, of course, always love cash and checks because there's no processing fee with cash and checks, but we'll also take your credit cards. Okay.
Can I ask a question, because I'm going up? The middle school LSAT members, is that Ms. Holloway
And Veronica Jarrett.
and Veronica Gerald?
Yes.
Okay. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, actually have 5.
Well, is Najaya a student?
But I have
You have Phyllis, Jessica, Jerry, and
Jerry,
LaShawn.
LaShawn, Phyllis, and Jessica. Right. Well, I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Miss Miles. Oh, I put Miles, that's why I was saying. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry.
My bad. Thank you.
All right, so we have t-shirts for sale. We're trying to raise a little money. So so that's sort of the update on where we are on the budget, on the process here. I think it would be helpful for us to talk about the final things we need to do. Theodore, if you're up for it, talk about the final things we need to do.
Sure.
On the nonprofit here before we move on to what I think will be our primary topic, which will be fundraising.
Sure. So good evening again. And so I helped to orchestrate the creation of our exempt organization. And so that's just the third exemption that we've accomplished. There is a state or DC requirement as well. And so it's just a process of preparing additional applications and paying additional fees. And we don't want to be stuck in a situation similar to Donald Trump's foundation that they didn't register in the city of New York because they will fine you if you don't get registered. So I'm in the process of preparing those documents. And so it's just really, it's very paper intensive. So you and I can, or any other members of the executive board can review those with me. And then I'll let you know so we can, submit that. But we should do that the next couple of weeks.
Okay,
And that's
that's
going to
great.
includes the Booster Club as well. So,
Great, that's great.
any questions about that?
If we get donations for the PTO, who should the checks be made out to?
McKinley Technology PTO.
Okay,
Or MTEC PTO,
Yeah,
okay.
either one of those will work.
MTech PTO.
Yeah.
okay,
And they are tax deductible.
And we have a EIN we can
okay.
give you.
How about the athletic, for athletic, soccer?
For the Booster Club, same thing. You can make a donation to you can make a donation to the McKinley Tech PTO, but indicate that it's for the Booster Club. And basically, the way we're setting up the accounts here to save on, until we get enough money in our accounts so we stop having to pay big fees to have the banks have our accounts, we have a single account that we maintain but we can maintain the books such that we keep track of what donations are for the Booster Club versus for the PTO and what's spent out of each one separately so that we can keep that apart. So if you want to make a donation for the Booster Club, just note that when you make your donation and we'll take that donation as well. What do we need actually, this is a good segue about fundraising for the different activities and what we want to raise money for. On the PTO side of the house, we tend to raise money to support things that support the academic programs here. On the Booster Club side of the house, we tend to raise money to support the sports activities. So both are worth supporting. So hopefully folks are able to make contributions for both, but we're trying to distinguish the two so that we can be clear about what the money's intended
Is
for.
that for middle school too? For both schools?
For both
sides?
schools, yeah.
Okay.
And then if we go to the young man out front and join, can we make a donation at that time as well, or would you prefer we kept that separate?
You can make a donation with your PTO membership. That'd be fine. A lot of people have done that. You just have to just say donation plus membership, and then we'll put it into the account so we keep track of that. I've got a big spreadsheet we're going to show to Jerry so she can start taking over this. Give to Jerry. Yes, give to Jerry.
Administratively, do we have, well, we're gonna be issuing letters at the end of the year indicating the amounts that were donated so people can use them for their tax preparation purposes?
That should be our plan. That won't be too hard yet. So,
Okay, but just
yeah.
put that on the radar. It needs to be on the radar as well.
Yeah, but we need to have that on the radar screen is to make sure we,
With that being said, will it be based upon a certain amount when it's over a certain amount? Because I'm also have another nonprofit organization, when they make donations, they provide a letter when it's over $100 donation.
I think it's just a question of, preference, and I think we should be consistent with what we do. So if it's, it's $10, just to say.
And they're making
yeah.
the letter will be written based upon requests. I think I agree with based upon request, because you don't want to make a whole, if somebody makes $10 donation.
It would be costly to mail, if, let's say if 50 people gave donations, the cost of the 50 cents to mail out to whomever they may be is a cost in itself. Or it could be done electronically and emailed. That's another thing that is reduced. But if someone, like, I don't do my individual, I don't get that stuff, like, into the weeds of, I gave $300 to the school.
so let's check and make sure we know what the rules are. And if the rules allow us to have a higher threshold, which sounds like it probably do,
I'll check it.
then maybe we'll have a higher threshold so we don't send out lots of letters. But anyone who gives us a substantial donation, we definitely want to write a letter to so that they have that in their files.
I do electronic ones.
Yeah.
I do itemize, and I would prefer something from the student. I just want to go on the record that I would prefer whether you send it electronically or whatever. Now, technically, because I do have your EIN, whatever this number is, I can put that into my tax program and say, but it would require me to write, the date and the this and whatever. But I would like to keep a record of that. Now, I don't know if I've donated to some places where once you donate online or whatever, it's thanks for your donate, and I get like a text message or something. So I don't know if that's something that you can set up in our Square account or online for the Booster Club or.
So
Well, the online does that.
Yeah, the online already sent me
Technology.
acknowledgement, so we can customize that however you'd like, so that we don't have to worry about the
And I
report.
think whatever we do, it should be consistent, and so, just so that, because if you're keeping a spreadsheet of donations anyway with the person's complete information, one more step to send out an electronic, acknowledgement of that shouldn't be a big challenge, so.
So this seems like a really great problem to have. So hopefully we have a big problem here where we have to send out lots of letters for big donations. But right now, I think that we should have a plan to do that. And so as we head into December, right, at the end of the year, these letters tend to go out around, right, at like January.
Absolutely. And
Right.
the other thing we can do, keep in mind, since we are an exempt organization now, is that we can also solicit donations. Is what we can do. So we can send out a letter to anybody and their mother and all corporations and say, hey, we're 501c3, including the Alumni Association, so that people can make end-of-year donations to our organization. We can do that as well.
I was just gonna say, you might use your acknowledgement as part of the solicitation campaign. And so send it out at the end of November.
Exactly. So I can work on that letter and everything, so I'll do that.
So that,
I may have something like that, or I can call a friend to get it.
What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry's our treasurer now. Yeah.
Okay.
This is gonna be Jerry's. We'll share it.
Are you the treasurer?
Yes,
Okay,
Jerry's our new
awesome.
treasurer.
Okay, the money person.
After she looks at my spreadsheet, she may change her mind, but.
Or make
Too late.
adjustments.
Absolutely. So that actually does bring us to fundraising, I think, which I will say one quick heads up on the mini grants for Dr. Jones and for Marissa. Are there other teachers here? Okay. We have not received any
So then we get all the money
requests yet for mini grants. Now, that's a good and a bad thing. The good thing is we don't have a lot of money, so it's probably okay. But we plan to have some money. And so to the extent that teachers have projects that they need a little bit of money, up to $250, they should definitely be submitting those requests to us so we can have them. Anyway, so with that noted, just let's talk about fundraising. So I heard one thing, which is we are sending out a fundraising letter. Actually mailing out a letter to ask people to make donations. Who has experience with that? So I will say I sent an email. The email I sent out over the weekend, I guess, or a couple days ago. It was very effective. It got one person to respond. So
I don't specifically have experience with 501c3 solicitations, but I work in the membership department of an association, so I certainly know how to ask for money. So I would, some people want to get together and work on that and help.
So, but I think a fundraising letter is a good idea. So we just need to have someone who's willing to take that on. So.
And we get we personally get those solicitations, and then also just a question of benchmarking what other people have done, and just,
Trying to figure out a way to rise above the norms.
Exactly. And if we could have access to the alumni list, Dr. Jones, to send to our alumni.
I don't have a list of alumni, but I have like an alumni contact.
Okay.
But I'm sure they have like a Facebook page.
I've actually organized and brought them all together on the football site. I can put that over on as well.
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
So that, yeah, I found every or alumni association because they all made their individual years on Facebook. So I was able to find a couple websites. But yeah, everything I was able to find is all put together on the Facebook, football site.
Do you have Tom from the Golden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think that one of the, instead of doing like just cold calls to random people, we might, as a PTO, want to figure out a way to incentivize the students or teachers or parents or whoever to reach out to our families, like something like, if you're writing like to your, I've got family all over the country, and I can probably get them to donate money to my kid's school. Cause I say, like instead of getting me a Christmas present, give $10 to McKinley Tech or School Down Walls or whatever. But it's the kind of thing that we can reach out to our own networks and to people who know the children who will directly benefit from it. So one of the things that I'm occasionally playing around with is trying to find someone to donate laptops and tablets to the school, because we need those always. So it's the kind of thing where somebody could set up like a Kickstarter or whatever, not a Kickstarter, but GoFundMe or something to say, hey, give us money for laptops.
I bet if I promised not to put any more snarky political posts on my Facebook page, all my friends would make a donation to McKinley.
Can you do that?
I don't know. It would be hard.
Is there a fundraising committee?
There is.
There is, okay.
There is. Yes.
So, Theodore.
I would love to piggyback what you said. I think that's an excellent idea, because the previous school that we were at, the entire parent body got letters to fund annually, and they sent out those letters rigorously to have 100% parent participation. And they had lower school, middle school, and high school. So the majority of the parent body that donated that group or section got a prize, or they got to dress down. So it gave them incentive. So it could be the middle school and the upper school. I'm not sure how that will work, but I really think that's a good idea, because parents should support the school that their children attend.
Or even do it at grade level.
In terms of fundraising, like for grants, right? If you can say, show a certain amount of family participation, isn't that important for the school?
It actually is, and when we do partnerships with different organizations, they want to I think they have to send documentation of how they partnered, the types of interactions between the school and the parents. And
So, you know, a campaign like what you're talking about,
Right.
you could tie it to like some sort of parent or family participation metric that might, you know, and explain that to parents, you know, that might also kind of light fire into people a little bit to want to help
Right.
the school in that regard.
And give them a little background of why we need the money, you know, which categories are in significant need, sports, you know, booster club, education.
and how the money's been used in the past, what
Right.
it's purchased. Or-
If the school needs technology or money for field trips or even equipment for teams, individual teachers can do donors choose. I'm a teacher, I received this year, 8 Chromebooks, a whiteboard, and a Mac for my classroom. So that's something that
Marissa,
individual
please talk
teachers
to
can
us.
do.
I was about to say, are you a teacher here?
I'm sorry?
Are you a teacher here?
I'm a teacher in DC. I teach in elementary school.
And Ms.
But-
Wall.
But you can ask for money for field trips.
Donors choose.
DonorsChoose.org. You just go in, tell them what your need is, what kind of population your school is.
That's good information.
And sometimes, like especially around this time, a lot of corporations are looking to have tax write-offs. So now would be the time to put in a request for that. But you know, only teachers can do it. An 8th can do it, but no administration can. I'll make a request.
But librarians can, right?
Librarian?
Yes.
That should be a requirement. for
Every teacher.
Yeah.
I've seen them advertise that on Channel 9 News in the mornings. I generally watch that channel. I've seen them advertise donors choose for, if they'll say Miss Lucky is, you know, trying to raise money for her class, and like they've gone out to the school and filmed, you know, something or whatever. So I've heard of that organization through the media, Channel 9.
I have this for you. They're also a site of peer-to-peer funding tools. So similar to a GoFundMe, and it allows for organizations to double the donation. So if we get donations from the parents, then organizations can come in and match what we have. So I have a list of the 15 best peer-to-peer fundraising tools that are out. And in addition to the letters to the families, I think it'll be good for the kids to get out to the businesses in the neighborhood that are along North Capitol Street and just in the Noma, Gallaudet area, like in the vicinity, if they reached out to those different places and let them know, like, we are your home school, so support us before you go do something else, because they may be thinking of different ways to give back and they didn't think about the high school up the street or the middle school up the street.
Vicky's over, no, Vicky's, the sport fitting store over by Costco's. I had talked to them in regards to, I said, you know, your local high school is McKinley Tech. We have a full athletic department. I said, you're in competition with Modell. And you have to get some incentive to get us into the store. I said, because when I came up, there was no one in your parking lot, and Costco's is full. And I mentioned to them, with Modell's, they give 15% off to those schools if the kid is in football, cheerleading, basketball. I said, you guys gotta give us some incentive because you're supplying this whole neighborhood. Kids coming from, they live in the neighborhood, they may go to Coolidge, Kenley. I said, you're right off the highway. So give back to the community. But again, they're saying, well, once Starbucks and all those other stores and Marshall's open up, and then they'll get more people. I said, and then you'll lose business because Marshall is cheaper. I said, but right now you can connect with one of your high schools, and that way you get more people in. Because if I come in to buy my daughter some cheer shorts, then I might give me a Redskins jersey too. I said, so it's a hand in hand. So, but
Or a Cowboys jersey.
Thank you.
Whoa, before we, that's always a dangerous place to go. So,
Yeah.
A great segue to the fundraiser, the restaurant fundraiser that we inaugurated a year and a half ago.
Yes.
John Capozzi and I sort of came up with, it was really John. And so the point was to go to the restaurants in the area surrounding the school to get them to buy in and assist in the restaurant fundraiser. And I think it was pretty successful, you know, by our standards. We didn't follow up the following season. And so we want to continue with that tradition, because not only does it bring the businesses into the school and it's for the partnerships, but it also gives families an opportunity to come together and have a meal together, or families come together. So John, you want to talk about that in terms of how we go forward with that?
Yeah, and I was going to also mention that when we did this last year with the businesses, a lot of the business owners, restaurant owners, they live in the neighborhood. So and then I went to the ANC meeting also, and I mean, they're definitely curious about what's going on at the school. I mean, they see all the students, and so they are interested in what's going on. And if we give them a chance to help, I think they'll respond to that because they are local. So ideally, you know, it was a fairly simple idea. Go out, get them to give something, whether it's 10% off, a free appetizer, whatever it is, it's going to get people into the restaurant. And we got probably about 10 restaurants to donate something. So the idea was that it went over 2 days. So you could go to a couple different restaurants that evening. You could try one. You go to different places and just check them out, actually. And they were happy to get the business. We tried to do it on a couple of days of the week when they weren't traditionally busy, as busy, because most of these guys are doing particularly well, actually, in this neighborhood. And then, you know, as Theo said, it's a chance for us to get together too. I got some people from the neighborhood who were interested, you know, just because then they could get a discount.
So John, how does it raise money for us?
Well, the idea is that people buy a ticket. So $20 to get, you know, to be part of the tour. And that's what we make. And then anything that they do in terms of spending money at the restaurants, that's up to the restaurants that, you know, they get that. But our goal is to sell tickets, you know, to be honest, whether people come on the tour or not. I mean, ideally, that's what we're getting.
And then from that relationship, what was the name? Boundary Stone, actually. I don't know if we ever followed up with them, but they have happy hours as well. And so we were able to get a cut from a happy hour. I think it was a Thursday or Friday happy hour.
Yes.
And so whatever the arrangement or the agreement is, we can sort of work through something. But the point is to represent the school, but also to patronize the businesses. And then I think LaShawn, you said something out about what you started to do as well.
So I reached out to Carolina Kitchen at Rhode Island Avenue Station, who also owns the company TKO, the burger spot right next to it. I actually know the owner, and they agreed that if we held a McKinley night where we invited the staff, the parents, the students, that they would give us 10% of the proceeds between the hours of, I think, between 5 or 5:30 and 7:30. When the McKinley family comes in, and the burger spot right next to it would be something more geared to the children if they did not want to come and sit down and have a dinner at Carolina Kitchen. So they just told me that I need to let them know what night works for us, and that they would, whatever we brought into them for business, they would give us 10% back.
I think Chipotle across the street has done it for the middle school side.
They have, yeah, I think I saw that.
How often would they be willing to do that?
Trust me, if it makes them money, I'm sure they'll do it more than once.
Right, and I was thinking, like, that's something that the parents could pull in. And
Right.
I could grab 3 of my girlfriends or my coworkers, hey, come with me to this happy hour.
Right, so it doesn't just have to be us, like I guess, like you're saying, I can tell my girlfriends and.
Yeah, they don't need to know
put
what
a
they
flyer around to the school or something like that, and they also said they have a happy hour there at, the Carolina Kitchen.
So
Also one more thing, they were telling me that for Thanksgiving, they do what do you call it? The volunteer, they feed the homeless. And what I said to her, I asked her, is it okay for me to extend this to the principal? Because some of the children here need volunteer hours. That way it would help us out with volunteer hours and cut back from them having to pay staff for the day.
They have to, it has to be a 501(c)(3).
Oh, for the donation?
For the community service. Now, would the 10% be just anybody who walks in during those hours, or do you have to identify yourself as McKinley?
During the hours of 5.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was 5 to 7:30 or 5:30 to 7:30.
So I hear a number of great ideas. So let me sort of summarize. First, a fundraising letter, and that letter would go out to our alumni in addition to our current families. And did I hear, I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Yeah, John.
No, not John, the young woman.
Oh, Karen.
Karen. Karen, are you interested in taking the lead on that? Okay.
It's fundraising, so it'll be part of our committee, so I have
Right.
names down here if they've been down already.
Okay, and then we have this parent participation challenge, which I like that idea, that we send out a note to parents to say, hey, we want to get people to participate, and we can do that maybe as
I think we should do it by grade.
by grade.
Even if we do it in the middle school and the upper school, competition feeds everything. So, and if we can keep a tally outside to show what each grade is doing, and you have a week to do it or a month, it pushes them to, hey, Mom, you really need to send this out. Put this on your Facebook page, Instagram this, or Snap. Please just put it out there so we can win.
So LaShawn, was this your idea originally? Or was this, yeah, I think the parent competition, is this yours?
Oh, yes.
It was your idea? Would you like to take the lead on it? I can give you the address list that we have, and maybe what we can do is that maybe ask, I know the teachers with different grades sort of send out a note what's going on. Maybe you could say, and there's this challenge being run by the PTO. Maybe we could ask who those teachers are.
If you have a little flyer, they could attach it to the emails.
Okay, a little, so maybe
And
we
then
can.
we can do Connect Ed calls about the Carolina Kitchen thing, and we can do.
I would hold back and find out what their least busy day is, just in case they're flooded with, I mean, you never know, it might make, let's go there for dinner, you know.
But if it's money that comes in regardless of you have a tie-in to the Kenny or not, you want it to be a busy day.
Yeah, right, but I want us to get in there too.
You don't want it too busy so that people can't actually go.
Yeah, because then it'll deter them from going. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I would mention this, like a couple of the restaurants actually didn't want to do a discount or appetizer because they're already too busy, like the Red Hen. So they just gave us gift certificates and we auctioned those off. So you're absolutely right.
So may I suggest also for these sort of broad fundraising efforts that we split the money evenly between the PTO and the Booster Club, so that it seems to me this could be a joint fundraising and have, so as a way to sort of be clear about how the money's going to go. Does that make sense?
Well, I'd like to know more about whether you have any particular fundraising goals in mind as well, and what.
Well, I kind of think we're all the Booster Club and the PTO. It's not just Ryan.
Yeah. So,
Ryan has some thoughts about it, though. I want to hear.
yeah, so 33% of the student body participates in sports. There are many needs for uniform replacements. I submitted a request for the Nike Community Impact Fund to see if we could get a $5,000 grant from them. I actually spoke with a woman just last week who said we were the only high school in DC to actually submit for the Nike Impact Fund. So she said it was very likely after I submitted some pictures of our football away jerseys. Also, after speaking with Corey, the athletic director, he said that we needed a new volleyball net. And if it was helping both men and women's sports, then it was going to be beneficial and probably be likely that we receive that $5,000 grant. So I'm hoping that that $5,000 is going to be put into the Booster Club right there. They did have to make sure that that money would be used. So again, we also need baseball and softball jerseys too. So there are many things that the athletic programs could use. Of course, I had discussed earlier, the whole reason I wanted to start the Booster Club is because a lot of these student athletes want to be able to participate in camps in the summer, and they get pretty costly. And something like that would be able to assist in that.
Sure. So do you have a budget for, for your goals at this point, or you just sort of trying to find out where the money is at this point?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where the money is right now.
Right. And you do know that DCIA actually is supposed to supply uniforms to the teams every other year.
They do send money,
Okay.
but it's never quite enough to go around, particularly they have had uniforms not returned or destroyed in the process of things.
Yeah, sure. Just when my son was in middle school, we actually sort of forced the issue with them because a student house when I just started the baseball team, we had about 20 kids, and we made sure that they actually provided uniforms to our kids, and so we can still bear down hard on them as well. Just make sure that they're supposed to be for all these EPS schools.
So I think it would be helpful if we put together a budget for the Booster Club that said, these are what we're looking as our goals for fundraising and what we're goals for expenditure.
For sure.
I think, and we can present that like we present the PTO budget.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Corey, see if he's going to be probably more informed
Yeah.
what the school's in need of. But yeah, he
Great.
sent me a little
So let's
walkthrough
work
of what we
with
need
it.
right now.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever heard of Fundly?
Yes, it's on the list.
Yeah, is that on your list? And the reason I asked, because I just thought about this when you were talking about the challenge, we were talking about receipts and all of that, is just how quickly you can actually raise money. I have a cousin who's on this Fundly website, and one of the other cousins sent me an email like, Precious is running for Omega Psi Phi, whatever, she needs to raise this money and whatever. Just go to this link, and the next thing you know, I was like, boop, boop, done. And so just by her getting the word out, like 3 or 4 people had already, within a certain amount of time, raised money for her. So that's usually the quickest way is, some website, and they actually did go ahead and give me the receipt and all of that. But when you talk about your idea, Stephanie, of either sending out a letter or something electronically to family members, it's much easier for me to just, because mail, I kind of get it, I might read it after. But email, if I could just click a link, pay it right then, and move on, that's helpful too. So these little peer-to-peer accounts, I think, are very, very helpful.
Also, I'd like to point out that one of the things Todd always says is, "That's a great idea. Are you going to do it?" And he's been sort of hinting at that with the like, "Okay, so LaShawn, are you in charge of this part?" But I want to be a little more explicit than Todd has been and say, if you have this idea, feel free to implement it immediately. You can go, like anybody who wants to, can set up GoFundMe or Donors Choose for teachers or anything like that. If it actually starts to work and you get some traction, make sure you copy Theo Brown, but send it to us. Send it to the MTech PTO email address and say, hey, look, this happened. I, on Amazon, do Amazon Smile. So they give some percentage of your expenses throughout the year to a nonprofit. And I look now that we have our 501c3 and we're listed. So now every time I do an Amazon Smile purchase, which is far too often, McKinley Tech PTO is going to get a check from Amazon at some point for, whatever, $18 or something, but that'll help. So,
quick question, how do you do that Amazon Smile? Because I order from Amazon too. I don't know what the Amazon Smile is.
It's smile.amazon.com, and you can pick any 501c3 that you want to. If on Amazon, you go through your account and you can sign up for it that way. Because I used to do DC Youth Orchestra because my son who goes here is also in the DC Youth Orchestra. But then I decided that, McKinley Tech needs my money more than they do. So that's how I figured out to change it, was going through my account. But that's the kind of thing we can.
So this is it, lighttouchsmile.amazon.com. If anyone uses Amazon, it actually doesn't cost you any money. I think Amazon just makes a donation.
Gives a percentage, yeah.
Yeah, so make Jeff Bezos pay,
So thank you, Stephanie, because
good.
I've actually started writing down names for the fundraising committee, and so I'd like to call a meeting, a conference call is what I'd like to do. So I have Jerry and Ryan and Karen and John and LaShawn. And so if anybody else wants to join the fundraising committee, LaShawn.
Oh, you're LaShawn.
LaShawn English.
Got it.
That's Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
So I have a list. So if you want to join, I need the information. So we'll call a meeting.
I just want to caution against doing a lot of those things like that. I think there needs to be a calendar of fundraising. There needs to be branding. There needs to be messaging. Because then there starts to be fundraising fatigue. And so I think to plan some activities that then become kind of countercyclical to other things that are going on, and also to give you guys a chance to kind of have a plan, because there are things you could do, like what LaShawn was talking about with the challenge. I mean, that could be part of the family campaign, which then ties into parental participation, the granting perspective. And so there has to be a certain number of activities around that. You want to plan that.
So it sounds to me like you're gonna call a meeting or a phone call to get that coordination in place. I love these fantastic ideas, and I love everybody volunteering some time to work on them. Hopefully we can raise a little money. Let's spend some money. So Dr. Jones who just walked out, she had suggested, oh, there you are. You're tweeting. Dr. Jones had suggested that that there be, one of our goals here is doing things to improve student success. And Dr. Jones had suggested that there be a competition for students, and that the winning, each class, each person at grade level would win something, and there would be a school-wide winner. And she was wondering if the PTO could provide $300 to support prizes. Do folks want to discuss this?
Sure.
Is there any? So do you want to?
So what it is a vocabulary building exercises hidden as competitions between grade level advisories, and then there will be a school-wide winner eventually. And then we wanted to have some sort of tiered prizes for the kids who are on a team for 9th grade, the kids who are on a team for 10th grade, et cetera, the winning teams, and then have an overall larger prize for the school winning team. And we're hoping to have about 4 kids on each team. So they'll start with the teams within an advisory, and then the advisory champion will play or compete against the winning team from the other advisories for that grade level. And then the grade level team that wins will compete against the other grade levels, and we'll end up with a school-wide championship vocab team. I think we're calling it the Vocabulary Bowl.
So it's the vocabulary, it's a vocabulary competition,
Bowl,
right?
yeah.
Bowl.
What was the dollar amount, guys? I'll take anything I can get, but I'm thinking, $300. I was gonna kick in 100 and ask some other folks. We were looking at maybe Amazon gift cards. I asked kids, they said Amazon gift cards, because you can use it for anything, would be great for the lower level winners. And then Miss Elwell, who's sort of running the program, said she thought Kindles maybe for the winning team.
I think this is a reasonable thing, the kind of thing we tend to support here. So we have enough money in our bank account to support this. It would be good if we can raise the money so right now we're running a dead heat. We've spent as much money as we have raised this year. I'd like to keep that pattern up where we don't overspend, so we can keep some money in our bank account, but we can afford this. So I would I make a motion to support $300 for vocabulary bowl prize competition.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. It's always nice to spend a little money in addition to try to raise some money. The last topic I don't know what time we are for time. Are we over time? Okay. So the last topic I wanted to talk about tonight, and then open it up for conversation for everything else, is advocacy. So I wanted to touch base with Dr. Jones and see what are the issues and any other parents, if you've got some ideas about things that we should be focusing on for teachers as well. Are there some things that as parents we should be paying attention to that we should be aware of?
Well, I think just things that are constantly playing out are the social media. Social media doesn't sometimes cause problems, but it spreads them. And so that is something that I think if we can advocate around appropriate and appropriate use of social media among our young. One parent at our at an LSAT meeting recently said she would love, and I thought it was a great idea, to have some sort of support group for parents who are experiencing some of the same issues, so that they can come up with ideas to support one another, ideas that work. For instance, if your child doesn't want to come to school or doesn't want to do their homework or whatever, just having a group of parents saying, well, I tried this worked, or it really, if you make sure you have a schedule at night, et cetera. And so they want it, to be run by social workers or counselors. And I thought it was a great idea. And so I think we have staff who would be willing to do that, either one day after school or one day on a Saturday morning, just to provide some extra support for parents who, if they're a single parent or just having some issues where they're just feeling a little overwhelmed with all the stress that comes with a middle schooler or high schooler. That would be a wonderful thing that we could do for each other, from the school and from parents who are rocking it, who are doing well with it, and maybe would have some ideas for the peers. I'm going to ask Ms. Wallace. You're in the trenches. What are some of the things that parents could advocate for that would help our students? Technology is a huge thing that we need. I've already gone begging 2 years in a row. We're a STEM school. We probably have the worst setup for technology of any of the major high schools. Our teachers don't have smart boards and Promethean boards. We don't have a 1-to-1 ratio with students with technology. And we don't even need a 1-to-1, but we do need to have, I would love for each teacher to have their own laptop cart so that they're not stealing them from each other, and it's kind of crazy.
Who do we need to go to? That's really a parent pushing on
I went
administration, right?
I went to John Davis last year. This year I went to Dr. Jane Spence. I would suggest, I'll deny it if they call me on the carpet, but I would suggest both of them. That this is Jane Spence and John Davis.
And who are they?
John Davis is the interim chancellor, and Jane Spence is the chief of schools.
So just so for clarity, it's always good to advocate for something very specific. Would our goal be to have every teacher have a
laptop cart? That would be awesome.
How many laptops are on a laptop cart?
You want at least 25, and that's because our classes generally tend to run 10 to 20. And even the laptop carts that we have, they're so old at this point that out of 25, only 15 might be in really good working order. And it really is a pain when you're trying to give students assessments online that they need to take online so that you can track data to do your short cycle assessments, so that you can actually change your teaching and know which kids are on the bubble, which kids need to move up and down levels. When you don't have easy access to the equipment. It used to be that technology was this way to enrich. Well, our world, it is a basic need for educators. You are very limited if you can't do stations, if you can't ask a student to log on and find resources. I mean, it's just part of what you do as an educator.
Two things. Do you not, I know we need computers, but do you not have someone from tech support come in every week to update your computers and keep them?
We actually do. We have somebody here, what they've done is they've taken old computers and they've taken them apart to fix other computers. And so we have like this graveyard of old computers that we have to put on our inventory list in a certain way to get rid of them. But it's just that we're not able to replace them at the level that we need to.
When you say you need a laptop card, you'd like a laptop card for each teacher, how many laptop cards is that?
Well, we We have about 65 teachers on the high school side and about 20 on the middle school.
And this is a problem for both schools?
Yeah,
So when the new
we
middle
could-
school came in, they didn't get.
they have
figured out.
they have a computer lab and they have some computer carts. They're actually in better shape than the high school. And we have some. I'd have to go to the inventory to see how many we have, but we may only have 2 laptop carts for the entire English department. And our science department and our social studies department are now participating in what's called the Monument Schools Initiative. And so they are using Discovery Ed resources, which are all online, which you need to have access. And so we're in a position where I can't assign all the laptop carts just to science and social studies because English needs them, math needs them.
Got it.
So Dr. Jones, much like what you said about denying what you would say at a meeting like this, since I work at Octo, I mean, first of all, we have resources. And our Chana Bemalapalli is our new CPO. She's been there a few months. Appealing to her directly is not something that you couldn't do. So I would recommend that as one option. But secondly, we have a new chancellor that's going to come in at some point soon. And ideally, that person would set a goal, or we could help them set a goal that every high school student would get a laptop, because other school districts have done it. I talked to people in Fargo, North Dakota, where they've not only given laptops, but they've given the internet as well.
North Carolina, there was the Mooresville School District became a national model, and their superintendent of the national, because they had this one-on-one where the kids were assigned a laptop when they entered ninth grade or middle school or whatever, and then they kept it, but they had systems in place for insurance, for theft, for all of that. We're not even asking for that. We're just asking at this point if we had viable laptops that all the teachers had access to. We think it would.
I guess I want to approach it from both directions so people would have it at home. And then the final thing is our Connecting Senior is working with our people over at Project Reboot, which is in Rockville now. They sell the $25 computers to anybody who gets any kind of public assistance, including school lunch. They're going to be opening up a second branch over at 2000 Alabama Avenue Southeast, hopefully in the next couple months.
Well, I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah,
great.
and they sell laptops for $65. They also have printers. So the idea would be if we could get every school lunch eligible child that didn't have a computer at home, we could do some kind of field trip there, whatever it would take to kind of make it happen. And I think that would be a way to
And if there's a low-cost internet at home, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's I'm working on that too. Like, there's modems that are out there that you can buy like a hotspot basically. They go for $70 and it's $10 a month after that. I'm trying to find some that would be a lower cost initially, but would still have a $10 a month, basic plan.
What's the name of the organization?
It's called Project Reboot, and
John, can you send me an email and with the
with
person
both.
at Octo I can appeal to?
Yeah, you didn't get it from me, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to send it.
I won't forward it.
And
It
we can
comes
certainly
back to me
help
anyway,
as parents and the PTO, we can certainly, send a letter in support or, sort of outlining if you send us the basic information, we can draft a letter and then request a meeting.
It's my favorite thing to do.
So it means that, I'll sponsor a child if they need it.
Yeah. So that's wonderful.
So I have a suggestion for parent participation with that. I know there's about 20 of us in here, but on the middle school side, they have this thing called Gator Points, and the kids go crazy about it. But when teachers promise these kids Gator Points for going home and telling mom or dad something, like to tell us to email whomever they need to email for whatever reason, that works well. And last year I had a high school student here. Some teacher promised them extra credit or something. And trust me, parents wrote in, I think it was about the issue with the heating in the school or something.
And that worked.
It sure did. Because
I
as
got
soon as
people
my child
coming
came
out
home,
of
she
the
said,
woodwork
"It's
to
extra
try
credit,"
out.
and I started typing that letter, that email immediately. So in addition to us, like, this is a small group here, this is not gonna do anything. But when you have 100 and some middle school parents doing it, and I don't know how many on the high school side, when you do that, it becomes more effective. So I have no problem. I have all my teachers' emails. I have no problem saying, hey, we need to do this. Just tell me what I need to say, and I'll email the middle school teachers and say that. So it won't come from their supervisor.
And who's the council member for this?
McDuffie is for 5, but 3 of them live in Ward 5. Anita Bonds lives in Ward 5, David Grosso, and a former council member, Vincent Orange. And so we had 4
And our
13 living
students
wards.
come from every ward. I think we can talk that. Our students come from every ward.
And Grosso actually is that he has oversight over education on council, so he certainly should know what's going on.
You council, like, if you council one comes out, they come right, they used to have Jim
Graham.
Jim Graham, who lived for constituent services. You gotta find that guy, right? And find the one who just really, it's crack for them, to serve the constituents.
I'm really liking this meeting.
Have we solved our connectivity issues here, though? Because I know that was an issue as well, right?
It's better, it's not great, there are different areas that we have difficulty with. I was in the library on the middle school side, and I was having trouble on the Wi-Fi, but I can move next door and it's fine. Here, the bandwidth is better than it has been, it's not great.
I'm finding something totally unrelated to that, which relates more to the Booster Club, which is, we have a new director of athletics at DCPS, Diana Parente. Have you met her or talked to her?
Yes, I have.
All right, so she apparently is really interested in actually do more athletic stuff, so I'm hoping that we can do something with that, I think. And then Clark Ray on the other side, they talked about kind of combining that, and so that's another thing legislatively, if we were interested, we could advocate for that if we thought it was gonna help us.
Yeah, she actually asked if I could put together a proposal for something like we've done at Tech for live streaming sports, because she had the idea of live streaming all athletics through DCPS website. So
Right. And she's been to the campus a time or two, and Clark actually had a student here, so we have hopefully some inroads there.
And Mr. Davis's son is here as well.
Yes, I was going to throw that out earlier.
And the director of parent engagement son is here as well.
Judge Bean Robinson.
So we need to, go to those folks as well. Absolutely, absolutely.
So, I mean, we need to, push on them a little bit.
So I'm hearing an effort, so I have a specific thing that I think we can advocate for, which is the computers in every room, right? The computer carts in every room. I think we've heard folks that we can advocate to, head of CTO, the folks in DCPS, the 2 Technology, maybe. So I'm willing to take that on and figure out how we can get other folks to do a campaign if we need to do that.
Do we have a web designer for just like the school website?
We are in the process of updating it. We have switched vendors.
Okay.
And Ms. Hazlett, who is not here tonight, she sent out the first look. We're keeping the old one until we get the new one up and running, and we have a new one for both the middle school and the high school.
Because that was one of my concerns. Like, we're talking about the new computers, and we've mentioned that we're a STEM school, and I'm like, the website
is horrible.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
The first glance that people see, like when I knew my son was coming here and I'm looking for information and I'm trying to get, and I'm like, it's still stuff saying mass media, and the program is actually now digital media.
We're hoping to make the switch by November.
So are there any other topics folks want to talk about, or do we want to go and buy T-shirts and join up as members? Miles is out in the hallway. He's excited to take your money.
Getting home in time to watch that debate. I'm a former social studies teacher, and I would have no idea how to teach the elections this year.
Yes.
I just want to double back to the organizational issues, and just a point of clarification, we were supposed to add a representative from each of our STEMs to our board. So we should do that. And so I don't know.
So
if we have any
that's
interaction with them, so that's.
Mr. Leslie,
Mr. Holm.
Mr. Holm, and Ms. Richardson?
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
they certainly knew about it, and they were certainly on board at the end of last school year. So we have to make sure that we sort of re-engage them in the process. But they have a slot on our board as well. Well, whoever heads up that department, so that we always have a representative from each of the STEM engaging our organization, so that we'll know what their concerns and what their needs are as we push forward.
Sounds good. All right, folks. Oh, wait. Sounds like I got more.
You guys actually chaired the restaurant night. I heard John mention that there were tickets that were sold, and then those tickets represented a tour. So can you explain exactly what
Yeah, the idea
tour-
was that there was a map with all the restaurants that were participating. And
Uh-huh.
so once you got your ticket, you would get your map and then you could go to any of them based on whatever they were giving and, patronize them.
for that particular night?
Yeah, and there was actually 2 nights that we did.
There were
So
two
And you'd
nights.
show them the
Tuesday
ticket.
or Wednesday.
Okay.
And they'd give you the discount.
Okay, so you showed them a ticket and they would present a discount.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's
I
how-
was interested in helping you all out with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. It really involves going around to the restaurants and asking them, and since they've done it before, they probably would respond. And then also going to the ANC and making sure they know what's going on and have them help as well.
That's right.
Okay.
And I have the template for that. And we didn't talk about the ANCs in terms of how we can engage them as well, because I don't know who the ANC person is for this SMD, but we certainly should engage all of them that surround the school. So we should do, so I can probably get a list of those ANC commissioners.
Anybody want to take on reaching out to ANC commissioners?
I will assist because I used to be an ANC commissioner. so-
Excellent.
Awesome.
So if you get the list, can you send it to Jerry?
Jerry can find it, right?
Or Jerry can get the, oh, you get the list? Oh, then Jerry's on it. Jerry is on it. All right. Thank you, Jerry.
If anybody wants to get a credit card, I have the Square app going so you can charge your donations and your $10 membership dues by coming to me.
So is it a monthly dues or?
No, it's an annual $10 for a year. What-
Because you can get $10.
For 10, we currently only have 14 people who have paid the $10 annual.
Before we leave, really quick, one from the LSAT meeting that everyone wasn't there for. One of the 2 issues that came up were the parent involvement and the student satisfaction. And all of us have students in different grade levels and their motivations are different. So I was trying to see if maybe we could reach out to our own children to find out what are they and their friends interested in. So we can maybe try to focus things for them to do. Like I have a couple of friends in the entertainment industry. So reaching out to different people, like I could probably pull a lot of strings, but I know like Wale will be back here in December. So see if I can make some phone calls. Hey, if you're not busy, I'm going to cook you something to eat. Can you slide through McKinley Tech for me? Say hi. And just to see what do we have to go through with you to get them in, out.
We'll make it happen if you can do that.
And then, don't tell me I have Gucci Man here. Or
Hey, listen.
like, I'm sure
Wait, he's here this weekend, right?
He's here now, but he'll be back.
Enough time to do research, because I probably don't.
Yeah, no,
Right,
we don't want Gucci. But I mean, the kids would not. But to see like, who are the kids interested in? Because my daughter doesn't like go-go or rap music, so yeah, I mean, yeah,